My name is Jon Kukuk. I'm the owner here at NestEgg Marine, but I'm also the educational officer for the Marinette-Menominee Power Squadron. And I'd like to welcome everybody to our American boating class, which obviously begins this evening and will be taught here until we conclude here in basically 5 weeks. It's hard to believe, but I've been teaching this now for 48 years. It's a little bit different. I've taught in classes where we've had 125 students down to classes where we've had less than 10. It's been quite a ride putting on this course over the years. I'm originally from Marquette, and that's where I kind of got my start when we first moved down here. I was up there teaching as well. I'm looking, at our few instructors we got here this evening, and I was doing a little look, and you can see on the back of your sheet the instructors that you'll see throughout the class. Between that group there, we've got a little over 400 years of on-water time. It's pretty amazing to see what we've got here. All these fellas and our volunteers, they love to come and share experiences, and you will hear lots of them during this course. Especially when we get Captain McCullough here, who kind of found his way here when Marinette-Marine was building Coast Guard boats. The man has been all over the world, including the captain of the Polar Explorer. Polar Star, excuse me, which did Antarctica. He'll have some tremendous stories when he gets up and works on the lesson he teaches. Go around the room just to let you know who's here. We've got our commander of our local squadron, Paul Henniker, over here. The fellow who helped log everybody in, Pat Mullen, he's our secretary. And standing in the back, Jared Wingers, he's a boat examiner and one of our instructors. I'll introduce Brian here in a couple minutes. Jim Goodman, our immediate past commander and boat inspector and instructor, and John Sturdy over here, who is going to be one of our instructors. And over here against the wall is Andrew Pincon, who is one of our newest members, but he's also an expert videographer, and he's going to actually be videoing this course this year so that if you miss lessons, number one, you'll be able to see them. And number two, it will give us an experience of maybe expanding our horizons to more and more people. This is something that is new to us, and I think it's going to be kind of exciting. It's going to be a little challenging. I think he's going to be challenged as we go forward because he knows after taking it last year that there's a lot of, not just instruction, there's a lot of hands-on stuff that you're going to find interesting as we go forward. I'd like to take a second here and kind of go around and have everybody introduce himself and give us an idea of what kind of boat you've got and how long you've been boating. So let's start. Go ahead.
One quick thing before.
Yeah.
We don't have the forms with us tonight, but we'll have them Thursday. Because it is being videoed, we have to get you all signed a release saying it's okay for us to film you. So just so you know.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't want to be filmed tonight, raise your hand. If everybody else is okay with you, then we'll have the forms for you next week, or Thursday night, and everything will be appropriate. And you'll be able to access this both on YouTube and on a website. So that means if you are not sure about something, you can go back and refresh, an event. Like a session.
Sounds good. So let's take a second and run around the room here and get a little understanding. We'll start with the gals up here in front. Name and what kind of boat you have or how you're involved with boating. not quite sure, okay. I guess we'll have the chief in charge speak for him after,
My name's Jasmine, I go tubing a lot.
okay?
My name's Kate, and we have just an 18-foot,
Now, you folks are with the Girl Scouts,
we're
right?
with the Girl Scouts.
Okay,
And we
fantastic.
also have kayaks.
Okay, great.
I'm Doug Palomas, this is Jenny, my wife, so, we have a 22.5-foot Regal Fastlift, and we've had it since 2009, so.
Great, great. Mayor?
Steve Genesat, my wife Mary, and son Matt, and in and out of boating for the last, I don't know, 20 years, off and on, different size boats. We're in a cruising boat now. Just looking at some more.
Cool. Dr. Park?
My name is Don Park and my son Braden. We have an 18-foot fishing boat. I've had it for maybe 9-10 years. Just want to be as safe as we can on the water. So.
Very good.
Nathan Shepro, Trip 33, and been around boating for my whole life.
Okay.
Jeffrey Doughboy, I'm with him on some Trip 33 and been boating for probably my whole life.
For those that don't know, Trip 33 is a sailboat. Right.
Yes.
You got a sailor in the group.
My name is Randy. I have a flat bottom boat, and I would like to learn to sail someday. And I'm new to the area, so this will be interesting for me.
Very good.
I'm John Garnis, I have a fishing boat, and I've always had friends with boats, but now I've got one, so I want to learn some things that I wasn't paying attention to when they were.
Okay. Very good. Well, you can see we've got a wide variety, and I see there's a few more coming in, so that's great. It's always wonderful to, get a class. It's very frustrating when, we've got all this experience and, we don't get a reasonable turnout, but we've really been lucky of late. I was up in Marquette 3 weeks ago at the Marquette Wreck and Boat Show, and where I started out back in the 60s, we were getting, classes, like I said, one class one year was 125 students, and this year up there in a town of that size, they've got 8 students. And it's really, it's somewhat discouraging to see that people aren't coming out, but I am very proud that you folks have, taken the time. I think you're going to find this extremely rewarding. As I said in the article that was in the paper today, after 48 years, at the end, everybody will, give us their feedback, and we've yet to find any feedback other than this is really great, and I've enjoyed it. And the other thing was last year we had a father come in with the 2 sons, and he was just going to drop the kids off to take the class, and he stayed, and he stayed, and he stayed, and at the end he goes, "This was the greatest thing." He says, "I probably really should pay for the book," and then I paid us the last night. So I think you're going to find this very interesting. You all should have the course outline in front of you. We've played around with this for a number of years. We've tried to shorten it. I know it seems very long. When we shortened it, we were really crammed to try to get the information out to everybody in a timely fashion and cover everything, so we had to go back a little bit more. One of the things that the instructors really feel strong about, on Thursday night the 20th, we have the outreach meteorologist from Marquette driving down, and he's going to put on marine weather. And let me tell you, it's one of the most fascinating evenings you will ever hear about weather. And if we don't calm him down, he'll go for more than 2 hours. I told him 2 weeks ago when I saw him at the show, I said, keep it to an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. But the interest is very, very, very good. You'll also see that we've got an optional but recommended on Saturday morning the 29th, which happens to be our open house here at NestEgg Marine, which will have refreshments. We've got sort of an Easter egg hunt with rewards and Easter eggs if you find them, but we're going to have the Marinette Fire Department put on a fire extinguisher demo where you actually will get a chance to put a fire out, actual fire out with a fire extinguisher. So it's 10 weeks. The last week is a very reasonably easy exam. If you read the chapters and answer the questions at the back, the exam is taken from those quiz questions at the end. We also do kind of a social that evening with pizza and drinks and just have a kind of good time. I think everybody will get to know each other by the time the course is done. 2 hours, no more. You know, they might go a little bit longer. I know our fellows tonight, they get going on these regulations. Hopefully we'll finish up. Some nights we may only go an hour and a half. There is refreshments in the back. There will be every evening, cookies, whatever, some drinks, water, pop. So help yourself with that. I will get a list of everybody after we get everybody registered. I'll get that back to you next week so that we're good to go. Did I miss anything, guys? Paul, you got any wisdom as a commander here?
Good luck. They drive you hard, work you like slaves, but I think they'll pull through.
What about the question you asked me in the beginning, John, or before we started about the certificates?
Okay.
In Michigan versus
Yes.
Wisconsin?
Michigan, if you were born after 96, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
I
if you're
guess.
born after 96, you have to have a border
Yeah,
safety card.
Right. I mean, just about the fact that we recognize the power.
And for Michigan, everybody that's taking this course and finishes it will get a certificate from the Power Squadron. And that is good in Michigan, especially if you're born after 1996, right? Am I got the right?
On or after July 1st of 96.
July 1st of 96. For Wisconsin, you will also get the certificate, but in addition, you will get a certificate from Wisconsin if born after, what month is it, Jeff?
January 1st, 85.
85 or 89?
No, 85, yeah.
85, okay. All right, so if you're born after that, you do need a certificate. And you'll get one from us, but in Wisconsin, you'll also get a Wisconsin one. And the paperwork you filled out tonight is a Wisconsin form, but we're doing that because we don't want you to have to fill out another form at the end. And if you need a Wisconsin card, you'll also need a Wisconsin DNR number. And I think, I don't know, you know, who over here, I know Steve's son, we already talked to him about that. He'll get one of those, and that way we're good. How about, you guys Wisconsin? Okay, you're gonna need Wisconsin DNR numbers and get those between now and the end. And Jeff can tell you how to get that when he gets up here. So
if you're born before that, you don't get certified?
you get certified. Yeah, you'll get a certificate here, but you know, you won't have to have one if stopped on the water.
Okay.
If stopped on the water by law enforcement and you're born after those dates, they'll ask, or they'll check to see if you have a card
I
from
see.
a course.
There varies from states to states too, so obviously, you know, you go to Florida, and you operate a boat or PWC down there, I don't know what their restrictions are.
Just make sure you, if you're gonna boat in another state, you verify what their requirements are and whether or not your state certificate will hold true. And then, so that's, you'll have to deal with that as we go forward. With that, there is, you know, like I said, there's 10 lessons. Quite a few of them will be, it's all, you know, PowerPoint presentations along with a lot of experience sharing. The 2 lessons that I will teach towards the end, actually 3, the line handling and knot tying, that's very hands-on. You'll actually get a chance to experience several knots, heaving the line, coiling the line, doing that. And everybody will be expected to, you know, verify that they can do that. And then we'll be spending 2 nights on charts and compasses, which is very, very, we find that just seems to be the highlight of the course, and we've kept the best for last, where we actually pull out charts, you will experience them, you'll actually do plotting on them, a lot of neat things that take place. So it's not sit here listening to us talk, there's a lot of hands-on stuff. So with that, Mr. Jim has to break the ice, he has a little activity.
We're gonna take a little
And we
boat
need
trip.
6
We need
volunteers.
6 people to come up and
And
sit in
don't
the
be
boat
bashful.
and take a little trip with us.
Yeah. We got six tables here, let's get one from each table.
I'm talking, for some reason Jake doesn't have an answer, I will be back.
All right, guys. Like I said, my name is Jacob Cross, so if you have any questions, feel free to just go ahead and ask or raise your hand. Jeff, you just met, he's the Marine Warden here in Marinette County. He covers the bay, the Menominee River, the Pwc River, and the Pwc River. So if you want to take down his number, if you have any questions or concerns, you can call Jeff right there. Good. All right, so Conservation Warden's responsibilities. We're here to educate the people, enforce the laws, and protect the public and our resources. One of the most important things before you go on the boat, you need to know the regulations, whether it be hunting, fishing, anything like that, you need to know the regulations before you head out. Okay, what is a boat? Does anyone know what a boat is?
A floating vessel.
A floating vessel? Okay, a boat or a vessel means every description of a watercraft used or capable of being used as a means of transportation on the water except a seaplane on the water and a fishing raft except a fishing raft equipped with a propulsionary machinery. So if you have a rubber raft and it doesn't have a trolling motor or another motor on it, that's what that's talking about. Alright, a motorboat. A motorboat means any boat equipped with a propulsionary machinery, whether it is in use or not. Motorboat age requirements. No one under the age of 10 may operate. Can everyone see? I don't have a clicker, so I'm standing. Can everyone see? Okay. Okay. So, no one under the age of 10 can operate. Ages 10 and 11 may operate a motorboat if accompanied by a parent or guardian. And that's the person must be at least 18 years of age and designated by the parent if it's not the parent or guardian. Ages 12 to 15 may operate a motorboat if accompanied by a parent or guardian or person at least 18 years of age designated by the parent, or if in possession of a boater safety certificate, which you guys are going through right now. Persons born on, oh, sorry, it was 89. You're correct, sorry. I don't have water in my thing, so I don't have to, but no. Yep. Persons born on or after January 1st, 1989. Sorry, I'm mistaken. So, what do you do if you see law enforcement? We initiate our lights. You gotta stop. Very important. You have to stop. Law enforcement be the Coast Guard, local boat patrol, conservation wardens. So you're gonna see flashing blue lights. No other boat should have flashing blue lights out there. Or verbal or visual signals to stop. You must stop. Equipment check. PFDs. Very, very important. Registration for your boat. Fire extinguisher. If you have closed construction, that means so back, your back by your batteries, your gas tanks, all covered up. So closed construction. If it's all open, you don't need a fire extinguisher. But if you do have the closed construction, you must have a fire extinguisher on board. So the batteries must be secured and the terminal is covered. So make sure you have a strap on it, or it's in some kind of container. It's some kind of secured to the bottom of the boat with the terminals covered up. Signs of intoxication, so just like driving a car, alcohol or any kind of illegal drug does not go well with operation of a boat or any other vehicle. So it won't work if you don't wear it. So anytime you see a warden out on the boat in Wisconsin, we're always going to have a life jacket on. You're never going to see us out on the boat without a life jacket or a float coat. So it's very important.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
If you guys are pulled over, people pull over for what you suspect intoxication, do you have the right to administer breathalyzer? Does the Coast Guard have the right to administer
Absolutely.
breathalyzer? Okay.
Absolutely.
And what happens to your boat if you're found intoxicated out in the middle of the bay?
Well, we're probably going to tow it back. Well, not probably. We're going to tow it back, unless there's a sober person that can operate the boat. Then we'll let them operate the boat. But no, if not, we'll tow it back and then we'll handle it from there. So, but yes, we can administer breathalyzer.
If you stop a boat and they are lacking in the required equipment, can you send them back to shore, or do you just cite them and say they can still stay in the water?
No, so we can't, as a department, we have a policy, we cannot legally or not, I shouldn't say legally, we're not allowed to let someone, so if you don't have the required PFDs, we will give you PFDs to help you get back to shore. But we're not just gonna turn you loose. I mean, yes, you're probably gonna receive a citation for, you know, not having the required PFDs, but, we're not just gonna leave you out on the water. That's a safety, you know, safety issue. Any other questions before we move on? So, operator must supply an appropriate PFD for everyone on board, whether that be type 1, 2, 3, or 5. Every boat 16 feet or longer must have a throwable. Person under the age of 13 must wear a PFD while underway on federal waters. So, on inland lakes, there's no law that says you have to unless you're on federal waters. But like I said, it's always important. You never know what's going to happen. Make sure you have that PFD on. Okay, the PFDs must be Coast Guard approved and in serviceable condition. So if you have a life jacket and you're digging through your boat and you're going out there and you have rips and tears and stuffings coming out of it, or the styrofoam's coming out of it, I would say it's time to turn those in because those are no longer serviceable PFDs. Registration. So every boat's required to have registration. I know, and if you don't have, if you just bought the boat and you don't have the registration, you're required to carry the paper registration until the actual registration comes in.
You have a paddleboard. What is the regulations with for the PFDs on those?
You're required to have a PFD on a paddleboard.
Wear it or just on?
You have to have it on. It has to be on the board. You don't have to have it on, but it has to be on the board.
One for each person that's on
Yes.
board?
What about a tube or a kayak and all that?
Yep, you're still required on a kayak to have a life jacket with you.
Oh, I was talking about the sticker.
Oh, the sticker. The only time it has to be registered if it has a motor on it, so a trolling motor, an actual motor, it has to have the registration then. But if it's just like a John boat with no motor, it doesn't have to be registered, no.
They tried
You
to
got
change
paddles.
that law in Illinois, I think.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
They wanted us to put a sticker on a tube.
Oh.
$35 or something.
Okay, so the decals and numbers must be displayed on each side of the forward half of the boat. Numbers must be a contrasting collar and 3-inch block style lettering. So here's your registration cards. Cards must be available for inspection. So if you're stopped by a law enforcement officer, you're required, well, whether you're not stopped or not, you're required to have that registration card with you on board. Registration exemptions. So kind of we'll go over some. Sailboats under 12 feet, you don't need to have registered. Oh. Manually propelled, not equipped with the motorboat. So if you have, you know, paddles, oars, you don't need to have it registered. And then licensed and documented fishing vessels, so your big fishing boats. Fire extinguisher, very important, like I said, for closed construction. So it's not required in boats of open construction. Boat construction of a type that will not allow for the entrapment of explosives or flammable gases or vapors. So if it's enclosed or closed construction, that's can cause explosion or flammable gas and vapor. So that's why you're required to have your fire extinguisher on board there.
Hey Jake, you go back.
Yeah. How far?
The registration. So documented vessels, if they're documented through the federal government, and you get your name on the back of the boat. In Wisconsin, those still have to be registered. You can either have your decals on either side of the name, or you can have the regular registration, the WS, your numbers, and then your 2 letters. So don't get that confused. They still have to be registered in the state of Wisconsin if your home port is in Wisconsin.
Any questions? All right, so back to the fire extinguisher. It shall be kept in condition for immediate and effective use and shall be placed so it is really accessible. So if you have a fire extinguisher on board, make sure that every year before you put your boat back in the water, make sure it's, you know, serviceable. It's not missing you know, the safety pin, it's not all mangled, everything like that. Just make sure it's in good working condition in case you do have a fire on board. So we already talked a little bit about the batteries. Just make sure they're strapped and covered and terminals are covered. So your capacity plates, maximum capacity. So some boats, you know, have seven, you know, it says 7 persons or 950 pounds. And so you have to comply with that for U.S. Coast Guard safety standards and inspections. Operating while intoxicated, we kind of talked about that before. No person may operate under the influence of an intoxicant. So just like driving, no person may operate with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08 or greater. Any questions?
Back in the day, we used to drink beer when we were boating, but I don't know how much it takes to be intoxicated, 1 or 2 beers.
Go ahead.
But it's legal to drink, what, you go out 1 beer?
Well, I mean, each person's different when it comes to alcohol concentration
sure.
and getting into their bloodstream. So, I mean, I might only be able to drink 1 beer before I'm at 0.08. You might be able to drink 5 beers. But, I mean, it's when you, I mean, you're taking that risk if you're going out and drinking and getting, you know, if you get stopped, because if you don't know what your threshold limit is, then, I mean, like I said, that, I mean, that's a risk that you're taking going out there. I mean, I know everyone likes to try to go out and have a good time and drink, but you should always try to have a sober operator at all times that's not drinking. That's my recommendation.
I've seen 2 guys go out on a sailboat with a cooler full of beer. I mean,
I'm sure it happens.
All the time.
I'm sure it happens.
that's not a good idea.
No, no, it's not. And if you're under the legal drinking age, you're not allowed to have a drop, obviously. Speed restrictions. Alright, so your speed restrictions. Slow no wake within 100 feet of any raft, pier, or buoyed restricted area on any lake. Slow no wake on any lake that is 50 acres or less and having public access, except when such lake serves as a thoroughfare between 2 or more navigable lakes. So if you have a chain of lakes, that is what that's talking about right there. And reasonable and pertinent under the exiting conditions. So if it's a really bad storm, that's kind of what that's talking about, bad wake.
What about on the river?
On the river?
Yeah.
Now there are some local ordinances to where, you know, some areas of the river are slow no wake, but it just depends. You have to look at, you know, through that county or the city that you're in, look up the local ordinances for that.
Say on the Menominee River,
Okay?
you still have to be slow no wake within 100 feet?
Jeff, I'm not familiar with
Applies
Menominee.
to a lake.
Just a lake,
Yep, not rivers unless it's marked or there's some ordinance.
Yep. I know, like a lot of areas, cities, townships, you know, they'll have on the bridge, you know, slow no wake underneath, you know, from this bridge to this bridge, but that's a local ordinance. So, I mean, that's something you need to look at if you're going onto a river. Just, you know, make sure.
The hazardous wake kind of covers the river.
Yes. Yep. Like you said, it's unlawful to create hazardous wake. So if you're out there cutting donuts and causing hazardous wake, that's a no-go either. So navigation lights, this is something that we see a lot that people forget to do. So for navigation lights, must be on from sunset to sunrise in those times of reduced visibility. So if it's raining really, really hard or super foggy and it's not quite sunset yet, you still need to have those on. But you are required from sunset to sunrise to have your navigation lights on. So non-motorized boats, a white lantern or a flashlight must be displayed in time to prevent a collision. So moored, anchored, or drifting boats beyond 200 feet from the shoreline, sunrise to sunset, white light only. No other navigation lights needed to be displayed. So remember to follow the rules of the road. So you see your port side, your starboard side, and your stern. So they need to be, you know, 120 or 112.5 degrees off the port side, and then the same off the starboard side and your stern your toe needs to be up to 135 degrees. So, starboard side's green. From the bow, that's what this should look like. You see your, your starboard, and then your port side, and then obviously your stern light. So, when is sunrise and when is sunset? So, if you look in any like the fishing regulations, hunting regulations, we always have this map. And if you have to look where you're at, so if you're in the northern zone or the southern zone, they'll have different breakups for that. So you'll either have to add like 8 minutes, add 6 minutes to the time. So if you can see right here, it's kind of blurry, but if you're in the northern zone, on the 7th day, it says 6:59 a.m. is sunrise. You have to add in the table. Okay, so that's already added in the table for the Zone A in the northern area. You don't have to add anything. But if you're in Zone B, you have to add 4 minutes. I can't quite see that.
Do you get a ticket? I mean, if like you're a minute over or something?
I mean, we're going to use discretion, but obviously, when it's that time, whether it be sunrise or sunset, you need to have your navigation lights on.
Just turn them on early.
Exactly. Better be safe. I mean, these are for, we're not out there just to, issue tickets. This is for your safety. And everyone else is around you. All right, so like I said, you just find the month, and then you go down to the day, and then it'll show you. I know it's kind of blurry up there, but if you go and look, it'll say have your month and then have your day down. You go through there, and if you're in the northern zone area, Zone A or Zone B, you just have to add those minutes. If it says add 4, add 6. Why red to port and green to starboard? Just like your stoplights. Red means stop, and green means go. So, PWCs, personal watercrafts, they're becoming more and more popular each year. PWC means any watercraft that uses an inboard motor powering a water jet pump or a cage propeller and its primary source of motive power. PWC age requirements. No one under the age of 12 may operate a PWC. No one under the age of 16 may rent or lease a personal watercraft. I know a lot of areas you go to, they'll have places where you can rent the PWCs, but you have to know if you're under 16, you can't do that. Ages 12 to 15 may operate a PWC if in possession of the Boater Safety Course certificate issued by the Wisconsin DNR or another state. Adult supervision is not a suitable, or is not a substitute for the certificate. So even if you're with your mom or your dad, or you still have to go through the boater safety. So PWCs and personal flotation devices. All persons riding a PWC must wear a PFD of the proper size and type. So whether it be a type 1, 2, 3, or 5, you have to wear a PFD when you're riding a jet ski. So, special rules for PWCs. You can't ride them backwards. So no skiing unless PWC is designated for 3 people. So if you have your 3-seater jet skis, then you can ski behind them. So kind of like your stern lights, but you cannot operate a PWC from sunset to sunrise. Because there's no lights on them, so it's just dangerous and it's against the law. So lanyard must be attached to the operator. They have little cords that you hook to your PFD, so that in case you fall off, that kills the engine and not going to allow it to continue to run. So you're required to wear that as well. Slow no wake. PWCs are restricted to slow no wake anytime within 100 feet of another boat or a PWC of any body of water. A lot of times what we'll see is people on PWCs, they want to splash their friends, you know, on the next boat on the pontoon. Obviously that is illegal. You're not allowed to operate faster than slow no wake within 100 feet. So don't be out there trying to splash your buddies on the next boat. And then also slow no wake within 200 feet of any of the shoreline on any lake. 100 feet. It is legal to operate a PWC within 100 feet of the following. Another boat towing a skier or a person engaged in similar activity, so a skier, tuber, you can't operate faster than slow no wake within 100 feet. The tow rope of any other motorboat towing a skier or a person engaged in similar activity. So that also goes for the rope, not just the boat. And the person involved in the skiing or similar activity. So whether that be the boat, the rope, or the person that's actually skiing, you have to, you know, you can't operate within 100 feet faster than slow no wake.
What about the favorite pastime of wake jumping of the bigger boats?
As long as you're outside that 100 feet, then you're fine. But once you get inside that 100 feet, you can't operate faster than slow no wake. So if they want to jump the waves, they're going to have to wait and stay, you know, beyond that 100 feet. So hunting, big time, you still use boats. So guns must be unloaded when the motor is running. Bows must be unstrung and enclosed in a case when the motor is running. Bow fishing is becoming popular. Anyone like to bow fish? Okay, so make sure you just check the season dates before you decide to go out bow fishing. A fishing license is required to bow fish. Yes, you're not casting, you know, for them, but you still have to have a fishing license to bow fish. No crossbows, must actually be a, you know, a compound bow. Check your local ordinances. Some local ordinances are in place where they don't allow bow fishing, so just make sure you know, just like on the rivers, there's certain parts of the rivers that are past your slow no wake. So you're never allowed to bow fish in a trout stream or within 200 feet of any fishway, lock, or dam. Bows do not need to be unstrung or uncased when used for bow fishing while the motor is running. So if you're bow fishing and you have the equipment set up, they can actually still be strung and you're still good to go there. Bow fishermen may shoot an arrow from a bow within 50 feet of the center of a roadway if the person does not shoot the arrow from the roadway or across the highway. So sometimes there's, you know, you're just down over the bank on like a little road, you can obviously shoot because it's still going to be within 15. As long as you're not shooting from the roadway or across it, you're okay. So diving, you see a lot of these flags out there. It's unlawful to engage in skin diving or swimming with fins outside of marked swim area or beyond 150 feet from the shore unless the location of the swim area is marked by a diver's flag. And up there in the top corner, that is a diver's flag. It's unlawful to scuba dive outside a marked swim area unless the location is marked by the diver's flag. So anytime you see that diver's flag, that means that a diver is in the water. Except in emergency, divers shall not rise surface outside of 50 feet from the flag. So in that 50 feet area around the flag, that diver is not, more than likely not going to come up unless they're breaking the law. They have to stay within that 50 feet. And you'll see the diving flag, they have to be at least 13 inches out of the water and have to be at least 15 inches long. And so if you see one of these flags out there, your boat must stay 100 feet from that flag. So you can't go within that 100 feet area of the flag. Towing all motorboats. No motorboat operation, including PWC, while towing a person engaged in skiing or similar activity within 100 feet. If anyone can guess? Occupied anchored boats. PWCs. Marked swimming areas. Public boat landings. And no one water skiing or engaged in similar activities may get themselves, excuse me, or the tow rope within 100 feet of a PWC. So, towing by PWCs, like I said, must be designed to hold at least 3 persons. Just in case, one falls off, you still have to be able to put that person on your PWC, so that's the main reason why you're not allowed to just have 2. Slow no wake when pulling a boat. So, unless you're pulling a skier, you have to operate slow no wake if you're trying to pull another boat. So, some of the most common violations: inadequate number of PFDs, which is a huge safety concern that we have. If we come up and we ask you to make a contact and you don't have enough PFDs or they're not serviceable, that's a huge safety concern, and that's definitely a no-go. PWC violations, we also have a lot of those. Like I said, they want to rip and tear and splash their buddies on the next boat, and it's a really big safety concern. Like I said, we're out here to educate and make sure that you guys are, safely operating the boats, but also enjoying the resource. Expired registration, we come across that a lot, especially this time of year. March 31st, boats, registration expired, so we do come across a lot of expired registrations. Operate in prohibited area too fast. And then OWI, I don't know who asked the question about the breathalyzer. We come across a lot of OWI arrests on the water. Just people want to go out there and they think if they're going to go out there for 6-8 hours in the sun and like, oh, I'll drink a 12-pack and I'll be okay, I'm going to be on the water. Well, that sun gets to you and then it turns into be bad. That's how we see boat accidents and then people get hurt. So no lights at night. Like I said, that was a big common violation that we see. And then fail display registration and decal numbers. Skiing without observer. So if you're pulling a tuber or someone's skiing behind your boat, you have to have an observer in your boat. Your little mirrors on the side, that doesn't work. You have to have an actually observer on the boat. And then permit underage operations. So you have little Johnny wants to take the PWC out when he's 9. That's definitely a no-go there. So get the facts when reporting natural resource violations. So if you're out there, you can call the hotline, or if you have the local warden number, you can definitely give them a call there too. But when you're calling to report a violation, you want to get, if you know who it is, what they're doing, when, where, why, and how. So it's always better for us to get that information if you can. Okay, so like I said, here's the, if you want to write this down real quick, this is our hotline number, so it's anonymous, so we're not going to divulge your information out, but it's 1-800-TIP-WDNR. Does everyone have that? Toll-free telephone number, and caller can remain anonymous. It's available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Or you can call your local conservation warden. Boating ethics is always, like I said, everything you do is ethic. You want to stay in general. If you do something in the field when you're alone and you have the urge to look over your shoulder to see if someone is watching you, you're probably just acting in an unethical manner. So whether it be hunting, fishing, boating, you always want to act in an ethical manner. Ethical dilemmas: too close, too fast, cutting between boats and shores, not respecting the rights of others and user groups, blocking the boat launch, awareness of exotic invasive species, accidents. So accidents are one of the things that we don't want to roll up on or get the call that there's a boating accident, and whether that be careless operation or OWI, it doesn't matter. We don't want to see any, or we don't have to go out there and respond to any boating accidents. Results in death or injury to a person and total damage in excess of $2,000 of boats or other property. Every operator shall, without delay, give notice to a conservation warden or local law enforcement if you have a boating accident. It's required. You have to file the report within 10 days of the accident. So,
You could skip over this.
yeah. Just make sure you're draining all the water from your boat when you're pulling it out. And if you're going to a different water body, just make sure that you take it to the local, you know, whether it's home, wash it down, let it dry for a little bit so we can stop some of these aquatic hitchhikers. So boater safety graduates may operate a motorboat or PWC alone if at least 12 years of age but less than 16. Must be in possession of a boater safety certificate during the operation. So whether you're out there, make sure you have that certificate with you. I know that was really fast, but we're on a time limit. Does anyone have any questions? No?